From a hidden world deep beneath 2.5 miles of ice sheet to the dangerous boiling river in the dense rainforest that is hot enough to cook animals alive. Here are the 20 geography facts they did not teach you in school. You won't believe the last thing I'm about to reveal. It'll change your perspective on nature forever. Let's start with number 20. Ever heard of the loneliest spot in the ocean? There's a place called Point Nemo, the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. It's the most remote spot in the ocean, over 1,450 nautical miles or 1,600 miles from any land. To put that in perspective, astronauts on the ISS are closer to you right now than the nearest humans are to Point Nemo. It's so isolated that it's used as a spaceship graveyard, where old satellites and space stations crash when they're retired. At number 19, I have something funny. If you dug a hole straight through the Earth, well, if you're in Argentina, the answer is China. That's right. Argentina and China are antipodes. They're almost perfectly opposite each other on the globe. But what about the US? If you tried this from most places in the US, you'd be deep in the middle of the ocean. At number 18, let's go to Canada. Did you know some parts of Canada have lower gravity than the rest of the world? The Hudson Bay region has weaker gravity, and it's all because of the last ice age. Massive glaciers once covered the area, pressing down on the Earth's crust. When they melted, the land started slowly rebounding. But gravity hasn't fully recovered. But don't get excited. It's only a tiny difference, not enough to make you float. Next at number 17, we have the Danube River, which holds a world record by flowing through 10 countries, more than any other river on Earth. It starts in Germany's Black Forest, then winds through Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, Serbia, Romania, Bulgaria, Moldova, and finally empties into the Black Sea in Ukraine. That means it touches 4 capital cities: Vienna, Bratislava, Budapest, and Belgrade. At number 16, we head to the Pacific Ocean. It is so massive that it covers more surface area than all the land on Earth combined. It stretches over 63 million square miles. That's bigger than all continents put together. You could fit Asia, Africa, North and South America, Antarctica, and Europe inside it, and still have room left over. At number 15, we have the longest straight line distance on land. So what's the longest straight line journey you could take on land without crossing any water? It's a staggering 8,444 miles or 13,589 kilometers from Liberia in West Africa all the way to China. This line passes through 13 countries, including Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Libya, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia, without ever touching an ocean, sea, or major river. At number 14, there's a hidden world beneath Antarctica. Deep beneath 2.5 miles of ice in Antarctica lies Lake Vostok, one of the largest subglacial lakes on Earth. It's been sealed off from the surface for millions of years, untouched by sunlight, wind, or human activity. Scientists believe it could hold ancient life forms unlike anything we've ever seen. In 2012, researchers finally drilled into the lake, discovering traces of bacteria that might have adapted to extreme conditions. At number 13, we go to the northernmost settlement on Earth. It isn't in Russia or Greenland, it's in Canada. Welcome to Alert, a tiny research station on Ellesmere Island, just 508 miles from the North Pole, and the population of about 60 people. It's so remote that it's closer to Moscow than it is to Ottawa. Temperatures drop below minus 40 degrees Celsius in winter, and for 4 months a year, the sun never rises. At number 12, speaking of Antarctica, here's something that might surprise you. Believe it or not, 90 million years ago, Antarctica used to be a tropical rainforest. Back then, the continent was much warmer, covered in lush forests, rivers, and even dinosaurs roaming around. Scientists found fossilized tree roots, leaves, and pollen buried under the ice, proving that Antarctica was once green and full of life. With number 11, let's go for an adventure. Forget Everest, Mount Thor in Canada has the greatest vertical drop on Earth. This beast in Baffin Island has a 1,250 meters or 4,101 feet sheer drop. That's steeper than Everest's highest cliff. If you fell from the top, you'd be in free fall for over 12 seconds. It's a dream for extreme climbers and base jumpers, but one wrong step, you're in for the ride of your life. At number 10, we have the Eye of the Sahara, a giant mystery in the desert. Deep in the Sahara Desert, there's a giant eye staring back at space. This is the Reichert structure, also called the Eye of the Sahara, a massive 50-kilometer wide or 30-mile circular formation in Mauritania. Scientists once thought it was an impact crater, but it's actually a collapsed volcanic dome eroded over millions of years. It's so huge that astronauts use it as a landmark from space, one of Earth's biggest natural wonders. At number 9, we take you to the boiling river of the Amazon. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, there's a river so hot it boils, literally. This is the Sinai Timpishka, also called the Boiling River. Its waters reach up to 93 degrees Celsius or 199 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cook animals alive. Scientists were stunned. There's no volcanic activity nearby. Yet the river stays scorching year-round. Locals believe it's sacred, but researchers say it's caused by deep underground geothermal heat. At number 8, we have Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia, the world's largest salt flat, and it's not just a tourist spot. It's so reflective, it's used for satellite calibration. That's right, this massive 4,000 square mile expanse of salt is more than just a pretty picture. Its mirror-like surface reflects the sky so perfectly, scientists use it to calibrate satellites orbiting the Earth. No other place on Earth can mimic the vast, unbroken expanse of the Salar. It's literally a giant mirror in the sky. At number 7, we have Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world. But did you know its summit is shared by 2 countries? The peak of Everest lies right on the border between Nepal and China. That's right, the top of the world is actually a political divide. One side belongs to Nepal, the other to China. So when someone says they reached the top of Everest, they could have technically been standing in 2 countries at once. At number 6, let's go to a sci-fi place. Madagascar, the island that's home to more unique species than any other place on Earth. Over 90% of the wildlife here doesn't exist anywhere else. Lemurs? Only found in Madagascar. That funky-looking chameleon? Yep, only here too. It's like nature's private laboratory with species so unique, they've evolved separately from the rest of the world for millions of years. Next at number 5, the UK wasn't always an island. It was once connected to mainland Europe by a land bridge. This bridge, known as Doggerland, existed over 8,000 years ago before rising sea levels flooded it, separating Britain from Europe. Imagine walking from the UK to Europe. It was possible, but now it's buried beneath the North Sea. Today, scientists are still studying Doggerland's ancient landscape, and what's hidden there could reveal secrets from our distant past. At number 4, we talk about volcanoes. Did you know there are more volcanoes underwater than on land? Around 75% of Earth's volcanic activity happens beneath the sea, in the form of mid-ocean ridges, hotspots, and underwater mountain chains. That's way more than the 1,500 volcanoes we know about on land. These underwater volcanoes are responsible for creating new oceanic crust, shaping the seafloor, and sometimes even triggering tsunamis. But since they're deep underwater, most of them go unnoticed by us. At number 3, speaking of the Sahara Desert, here's something that might surprise you. The Sahara Desert is expanding southward by up to 30 miles every single year. This isn't just a few small changes. Entire ecosystems are being affected as the desert pushes further into areas that used to be lush with vegetation. Climate change, deforestation, and overgrazing are major contributors to this rapid expansion. It's turning once fertile land into arid desert. At number 2, I have a small story for you. In November of 1963, an underwater volcano erupted, spewing ash and lava into the sea. Over time, the eruption built up enough material to form an entirely new island. And that is the island of Surtsey, which didn't even exist before 1963. It was born from a volcanic eruption. Today, Surtsey is a protected natural reserve, a rare example of how nature creates land from scratch. Scientists use it to study how life begins and evolves on new land. Finally, at number 1, I'll give you a really shocking fact. Did you know there are more trees on Earth than stars in our galaxy? We're talking around 3 trillion trees. That's right, trillions. The Milky Way, a measly 100 to 400 billion stars. Think about it. Each one of those trees is a carbon-sucking, oxygen-pumping mini ecosystem. They're basically nature's air purifiers. They're home to countless creatures, from tiny insects to massive mammals. And they keep our planet cool. but we humans are chopping them down fast. Deforestation is a real problem, and these numbers, they're shrinking. So next time you're outside, give a tree a little nod. They're doing a lot more for us than we realize. And those were the 20 geography facts they didn't teach you in school. If you enjoyed learning about these amazing places, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating facts about our world.